The notion of emotion. How does emotion function? Emotion is such a common element of humanity that its functionality is often taken for granted. But perhaps it should be more distinctly analyzed and understood. Assuming emotion was developed through evolution, it should have a cause and effect, developed with a benefit for survival and reproduction. Happiness would be basically a positive reinforcement method, and sadness, fear and pain would basically be a negative reinforcement method. Happiness would have developed to reward circumstances beneficial for survival and reproduction. Such as, food that tastes good, causes enjoyment as reinforcement to continue eating more food, which proved to be helpful to the species in those circumstances. Exercise causes a sensation of reward, as it makes the body healthier. Or sex causes enjoyment and a connection to another, as it enables reproduction and survival of the species. In some species, especially humans, there's a natural sense of accomplishment for completing tasks, since exploring or solving problems has resulted in finding resources and easier methods to survive. Sadness is naturally the effect of lacking something which would help survive, such as loneliness would be a lack of assistance from others, and animals which survive better in a group. Fear is triggered by conditions which endanger the individual, causing high risk, and physical pain simply reinforces the individual to avoid causing themselves physical harm. These emotions are natural and instinctual, and they are pre-programmed by genetics to be triggered by a range of circumstances. The boundaries of the range of circumstances which trigger emotional feedback have been proven over many generations to repeatedly be beneficial for survival of that species. The brain is programmed for each emotion to react to the range of circumstances when sensory input detects a near enough resemblance to a situation which should be avoided or pursued. For example, a person receives sensory input of the resemblance of a large animal in a dark forest and instinctively feels fear as encouragement to run and have heightened alertness. Or a person tastes fruit and naturally receives positive reinforcement of enjoyment to cause them to pursue eating that food, which was proven to be beneficial for health and short-term survival. These are ranges for which instinct can be triggered to cause emotion. But besides causing default reactions, emotions also influence future reactions, based on the individual's subjective experience. Through an individual's subjective memory of experience throughout their lifetime, the emotional feedback triggers allow a customized set of reactions to particular circumstances. After an individual experiences scenarios where the emotional feedback is triggered, they are reinforced to avoid or pursue more detailed and specific sensory input linked with those circumstances. This is basically subconscious memory and influences conscious thought of their experiences, where emotions have triggered positive or negative feedback based on more specific factors. For example, if Sally has a very emotionally happy time eating at a restaurant with her friends, it might influence her to want to go back to that restaurant 2 years later. Even if she consciously forgot the experience, and even if the restaurant itself had worse food than others, that positive reinforcement from emotion could be in her subconscious. Since emotions are the default, built-in reinforcement triggers, developed over long periods of generations, the function is not based on modern complex society, so can be triggered ineffectively. But keeping this in mind, and how emotions influence the subconscious and future reactions, conscious thought and reasoning can use its advantage to direct emotions. Emotion seems to be included in very practical instinctual methods, besides adding value to experience, so to make the best of it all, try to remember the overall notion of emotion.